It's Tuesday, September 8th. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Another death due to COVID-19 was reported on Monday, bringing to 34 the total deaths on the island. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update at a virtual press briefing at Jamaica House.
Unfortunately, Prime Minister, one additional death related to COVID-19, and we regret that death, of course, and we express our condolences to family members. The deceased is an 83-year-old female who had comorbid conditions, hypertension and diabetes, and she hails from Manchester. In terms of the current numbers, Jamaica confirmed in the last, overall 3,183, with an additional 80 new cases in the past 24 hours. So that's 80 new cases and one death. Recoveries have increased by 16, bringing the total number of persons who have recovered and have been released from care to 974, that is 30.6%. Of the 80 confirmed cases, there are 47 females, 32 males, with one sex classification currently being investigated. I suspect the report did not come in time to determine male, female. We'll get that from the hospital and add that to the categorization relevant. And their ages range from 6 months to 87 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew, which continues to lead the positive cases, 32, St. Catherine, 25, St. Thomas, 11, Portland, 6, St. Mary, 3, Manchester, 2, and Westmoreland, 1. All 80 cases are under investigation.
With the country now classified to be in the community transmission phase of COVID-19 pandemic, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced some national measures to curb the rising cases.
Given the rising numbers, we have to tighten some of our measures initially for a 2-week period. The island-wide curfew time will be brought forward from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m. starting tomorrow, September 8th, 2020, at 8 p.m., ending the following morning at 5 a.m. each day until 5 a.m. Wednesday, September the 23rd, 2020. The gathering limit is being reduced from 20 persons to 15. Persons in public spaces will not be allowed to gather in groups exceeding 15 persons as of Tuesday, September 8, 2020, ending Tuesday, September the 22nd, 2020. Persons 70 years and older will be required to stay home, but will be allowed to leave home once each day for the necessities of life, which means that they can leave home to go to the closest practicable location for the purposes of obtaining food, medical supplies, conducting financial transactions, overseeing their place of business, attending a place of worship, or physical exercise. What this means now is that we are reducing the age limit from 75 to 70, given the high vulnerability of persons in this age group, particularly for those with comorbidities.
Another area addressed by the measures was that of public transportation.
The provision of public transportation by motor car will be limited to one person less than the maximum number of persons allowed to be carried under the relevant license from September 8, 2020 to September 22nd, 2020. And here I will pause to remind all those taking public transportation to ensure that you wear your mask while in the vehicle and to sanitize your hands immediately after you exit the vehicle. I also remind you to make sure that the protocols are being observed before you enter the vehicle. The prohibition on funerals and parties or such events will continue until September the 22nd, 2020. And just a reminder that burials will be allowed but with strict observation and enforcement of the 15-person rule, and that the 15 includes no more than 10 mourners, with the additional 5 persons comprising the officiating clergy, funeral officials, and the persons preparing the gravesite. Funeral processions are only allowed to include the hearse, the vehicle taking the officiating clergy, and the mourners. Normal church services operating in compliance with the established protocols may continue. Congregants are reminded that gathering in excess of 15 persons are not allowed outside of the place of worship. When the service ends, please leave the premises without congregating outside the place of worship. We're also encouraging all businesses to facilitate persons to work from home if they are able to do so.
Mr. Holness was speaking at a virtual press conference on Monday at Jamaica House. Newly sworn-in Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his administration will be hard on corruption while investing in health, social security, technology and business innovation in order to help Jamaica recover stronger from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Holness shared his vision for the nation following his affirmation as leader of the Jamaican government. We have more in this report. Prime Minister Andrew Holness used his speech on Monday to signal a shift in how he would manage his emerging cabinet. Mr. Holness has reiterated his commitment to leading a government that is hard on corruption and task-oriented. He says complacency will not be tolerated.
No one has been shown any special favors, given any protection, or influence brought to bear on any anti-corruption agency or investigation. This is a step in the right direction. However, in addition to investigation and prosecution, we must also seek to prevent the occurrence of acts which weaken public trust and damage the integrity of the government. To this end, I have indicated to the Executive Director of the Integrity Commission that each elected representative and each appointed minister will participate in the sensitization and public education programs to be established by the Integrity Commission.
Mr. Holness, who is being sworn in at King's House for the third time in 9 years, says while spikes in the number of COVID-19 cases are inevitable, he has faith that the Jamaican people will conform to the new norm.
Jamaica does not have the reserve of resources to always be locking down our economy. We must now all learn to live with and protect ourselves from the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the COVID-19 disease it causes. We cannot rely on fear, panic, and stigma to get temporary compliance, but on the conscious effort on the part of every Jamaican that as we go about our daily lives, working, worshiping, shopping, and socializing, we must follow the established infection prevention and control protocols. These personal measures, coupled with stronger public education, tighter enforcement, and prosecution of breaches, and control of non-productive and unnecessary movement and activities, will gradually bring the numbers down and relieve the stress on our health system and the exposure of our frontline workers.
Mr. Holness sees the pandemic as an opportunity to modernize the economy.
Our re-election as a government, aside from being decided on a platform of performance, was also decided by the consideration of the electorate that we will be a strong and effective government to take the necessary actions to see to the emergence of a stronger society and economy from the pandemic.
He says his administration will be investing in major, medium, and small industries to aid that process.
We will bring into operation the Fiscal Council, and we will also operationalize the independence of the Bank of Jamaica. We will improve the business climate and invest to improve competitiveness by reforming customs, developing a national business portal, and increase technology and business process engineering for greater efficiency in the public sector. We will diversify our economy to increase resilience, promote innovation, support youth entrepreneurs, and explore opportunities within the green and blue economies. We will support the development of coding, animation, film, logistics and fulfillment, among other sectors, to create 150,000 new jobs.
Meanwhile, 4 key ministers in the Wholeness Cabinet have been sworn in.
These individuals have accepted the Prime Minister's invitation to serve as ministers and have thereby indicated their willingness and commitment to contribute to the realization of the policy and program objectives of the government. I am sure you are aware of the responsibilities that will be entrusted to you as you serve the people of Jamaica. You will be required to, among other things, ensure the safety and security of citizens, manage the economy efficiently, contain the increasing incidents brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic and other matters regarding the health of the nation, and continue diplomatic relations with our international partners and also Jamaicans in the diaspora.
The 4 are Dr. Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and National Security Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness, and Kamina Johnson-Smith, Senator and Minister of Foreign Affairs.
You are appointed to serve. It is a selfless task, and every day you give of yourself. It can also be a thankless task, but that should not deter you from service.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, have closed its office located at 48 Duke Street in Kingston for 2 days. The closure follows news that staff members confirmed positive COVID-19 test results. The agency says that the 2 days will be dedicated to deep cleaning and sanitization. The CPFSA says clients wishing to conduct business at the location are being asked to contact them via email at childprotection.gov.jm or call 876-469-4100 or 876-558-7134. The adoption unit can be contacted via email at childprotection.gov.jm. Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says its Spanish Town office located at 1 Twickham Park, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, is closed today, September 8. The closure is in response to the report of a confirmed COVID-19 case of a staff member. The TAJ says that the office is being closed to facilitate deep cleaning and sanitization and is expected to reopen on Wednesday once certified by the Public Health Department. Taxpayers are reminded that several transactions may be conducted using TAJ's tax portal at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. 85 new recruits have joined the Jamaica Fire Brigade JFB. The men and women who recently completed a rigorous training program will now be assigned to various divisions across the country. JFB Public Relations Officer Emilio Banks says the new cohort will boost the complement of firefighters as well as assist with the fighting of the novel coronavirus situation. Banks indicated that in addition to firefighting skills, the new JFB recruits are also trained and certified as emergency medical responders. Political commentator and radio talk show host Mark Wignall was among 3 people shot on Red Hills Road Tuesday morning. Reports are that Wignall was at an area known as Common when he was fired on by persons that drove by in a car. Wignall's injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. 2 other persons were also injured in the incident. Time now to look at the market movements and key indices. We go to the business report with Gabriel Thompson.
In early August, the National Commercial Bank NCB announced plans to undertake the first phase in its distribution of its highly anticipated Visa debit card. It was recently announced that the cards were being distributed to staff and customers doing private banking ahead of the planned widespread distribution. On Friday, some NCB customers received emails with the rollout schedule and collection dates. However, on Sunday, customers received another email from the financial institution stating that the decision has been taken to postpone the further rollout of the new NCB Visa debit card. Due to the current conditions with the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the heightened need to ensure that full safety protocols are maintained in branches, further provisions are to be made to accommodate the in-branch pickup process, subsequent activation and usage. NCB also said customers should continue to use the existing Midas debit card in the usual manner until the Visa debit has been received and activated. Data has indicated that 15% or less of Jamaicans own a personal credit card. In Monday's trading session, the JSE combined index declined by 1,990 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 75 stocks, of which 35 advanced, 29 declined and 11 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 7 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company, Berger Paints Jamaica, and Blue Par Group Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services, Burrito Investments Limited, and CAC 2000 Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica, Siboney Group Limited, and Dermond Trading Company. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with 6.4 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 1.6 million units, and Wisynco Group Limited ordinary shares with under 700,000 units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Monday, September 7, ended trading at $146.89. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $111.26. The pound sterling traded for $195.07, and the euro ended trading at $174.10. Oil slid more than 3% towards $40 a barrel on Tuesday, its 5th session of decline, pressured by concerns that a recovery in demand could weaken as coronavirus infections flare up around the world. Brent crude futures fell $1.43 to $40.08 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures dropped $2.06 to $37.71 a barrel. And that's it for the business report on PBCJ. I'm Gabriel Thompson.
In regional news, students of the Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School in St. Lucia were on Monday screened upon entry to the compound. This is one of many measures adopted as schools reopen this week. More in this report.
The Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School is one of the many schools which resumed in-person instruction on Monday, September 7th. The school has adopted the 6-day cycle, with the 7th designated for planning and preparation. Principal Rohan Lubon says it was difficult to accommodate the 6-day cycle as the entire timetables had to be changed. This means alternate instruction, more double periods, and an online blended approach.
The Form 1s, 3s, and 5s come in on alternate days, and we have the Form 2s, the 3s as well, and 5s, Form 2s, 3s, and 4s, come in on the other days. So the Form 3s are split down the middle. The students were given timetables ahead of today, so they are all aware. Letters were sent to parents, comprehensive letters explaining the protocols and procedures, so they are all aware as to what is expected of them and the students. We have had so far a very good day. Once the students arrive, they are screened, the temperature is taken, they are sanitized, and they report directly to the classes.
So what about COVID-19 health and safety protocols? Well, students at Leon Hess are to wear their masks for most of the school day and wash their hands regularly. The school will also dismiss the various forms at different times to avoid large social gatherings.
When we sound the bell at 2:30, which is the end of the school day, the Form 1s will leave. Then 5 minutes later we sound the bell. Then the Form 3s will leave. Then 5 minutes after we sound the bell, then the Form 5s will leave. We do the same tomorrow with the Form 2s, 3s and 4s. So at the end of the school day, we have no crowding on the compound. So they live in intervals. So they are aware. The Form 5s, for instance, they can be very restless, but they need to bear the additional 10 minutes that they'll be in the classroom with the teachers. I'm sure the teachers will engage them. And they totally understand why they would have to be kept back so that you could avoid the crowding. And we want to encourage social distancing. Probably other schools could practice that as well.
Meanwhile, at the St. Aloysius RC Boys Primary School, parents struggled to stay off the compound as they parted with their sons at the gates. Acting Principal Sister Elizabeth Jepanel says guardians are having a hard time coming to terms with this protocol.
It's been tough. Coming in, having the students adjust to that new normal, because like I've said before, school is a social space. The boys are used to being up close and personal with their friends. They haven't seen their friends from March. So you must expect that they would come in and, I want to hug and I want to meet my friend, I want to go to his class. That cannot be done. I found the parents were a lot more anxious because not being able to walk their students, their sons or their wards in, that is new, it's foreign to them, and you could tell at the gate they were anxious, especially if they didn't come to orientation. That's why it's important that parents come to orientation, so you get the heads up before the actual day. So a few of them, they wanted to know, the teacher, the class, but we told them, do not worry, your children are safe, we will take care of them. Okay, that's what we are here for. But they were, by the gate waiting a little while. But in the end, they had to leave because they had to understand that it's not allowed, that they can no longer come on the compound.
Sister Elizabeth is hoping that the parents will get used to the new protocols as the school week goes by and students settle into their classes. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
The Special Development Minister, Donna Cox, has assured Tobagans that the efforts are being made to get relief grants to those in need as quickly as possible. She acknowledges there may have been a delay in the issuing of grants in Tobago, but says Tobago desk will be set up in Trinidad to ensure any issues are dealt with. Sunil Lala of TT2 News has more.
Several months since government first announced that relief grants would be made available to persons in need of financial assistance due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and citizens in Tobago have been complaining that they are yet to receive those grants that they would have applied for some months ago. But new Social Development Minister Donna Cox believes she has a solution to help fast-track those grants and provide some information to persons who are still on the waiting list. The minister on Monday met with THA Health Secretary Tracy Davidson Celestine along with other officials in Tobago and promised to implement a Tobago desk in Trinidad to ensure solutions to various grant issues are cleared up in as little time as possible.
We came up with a plan to have a Tobago desk in Trinidad so that any issues concerning the grants, that person will be the person to troubleshoot and to come up with the solutions and to fix as soon as possible, more or less in a 2-week period.
Minister Cox adds that many applicants would have been rejected due to several issues, including persons who are already in receipt of a grant, not completing the form properly, and those whose households are in excess of a monthly combined income of $10,000. But she says staff will be beefed up soon to double-check these grants to ensure no mistakes were made in approving some of them. Additionally, the minister has promised to provide feedback for those who may have been rejected.
Those who may not be eligible, some of them do not know. So they may be waiting and saying, well, we need to get our grant, but they didn't realize that they didn't meet the criteria. All right? Some applied, and the problem is they are not without a salary because of COVID-19.
The Social Development Minister adds that there are good reasons for most of the delays, including a recent issue with City Post, where its operations had to be halted due to a COVID-19 case, resulting in grant relief checks being delayed.
And what happened is that there was about two scare of COVID-19 in the offices and they were closed. But between Thursday last week and this week, they have already distributed about 100 cards. So therefore, they only have about 79 to distribute.
These remaining 79 grants are expected to be distributed this week. Sonolala, CTT News.
Still in Trinidad and Tobago, there are two new reasons for the latest increase in COVID-19 infections in that country. The country's health minister attributed the second wave of infections to socializing among young people and members of the public reporting for duty, even though they know they are unwell. Crystal Wilson has more in this report.
And persons who are ill, still reporting for work, are two of the main reasons given by Health Minister Terence Dialsing for this country's increase in COVID-19 positive cases. The Health Minister made the statement during Monday's Ministry of Health COVID-19 virtual update. He said recent data collected shows that young people are refusing to wear masks and adhere to social distancing.
And what is partially driving our second wave is the demographic of the 25s to 49s who are taking the virus home, infecting the families, infecting the elders.
Minister Dialsing added there are also a number of people who continue to go to work despite exhibiting symptoms which indicate they are ill. He said this disturbing trend is happening in both the private and public sectors.
We are getting more and more reports from companies, both in the private sector and also the public sector, including health. We are not immune to this, where people are going to work knowingly ill, and are infecting whole workforces.
And as for the recent increase in this country's death toll, epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines attributed the unfortunate development to increased community spread.
What we are seeing now is basically the reach of the virus getting into those vulnerable populations as community spread continues. The fact that anyone can be exposed by anyone else does put everyone at risk, and where vulnerable people are exposed, vulnerable people can have more serious illness and they have worse outcomes.
Members of the public were also warned against what was described as underground parties. The health minister said this development can harm those who are at high risk of contracting COVID-19. Crystal Wilson, TTT News.
In sports, we ball off with cricket. The top 4 teams in this year's abbreviated Caribbean Premier League will battle in today's semi-final doubleheader to decide who will battle for the title on September 10. The Jamaica Talawas will face off with unbeaten Tobago Knight Riders at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. While in the second semi-final, the Guyana Amazon Warriors battle the St. Lucia Zooks. And over to football, Red Stripe Premier League RSPL was set to kick off on October 16, but that now seems in doubt with the recent COVID-19 spike in positive COVID-19 cases. That from the Jamaica Football Federation's General Secretary Dalton Wint. Wint says the sport administrators were also awaiting approval of a protocol they had submitted to the government. The 2019-2020 season was initially cancelled in May owing to the ongoing pandemic. 8 more sets of games were left to be played in the third round of the competition when the plug was pulled, and the decision was taken to keep all 12 teams that had participated in the 2019-2020 season for the upcoming football season. And that's the news on PBCJ. Remember, please remain safe.